Hey, my name's James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. Interest rates have been held again. That's not great. Inflation has hit its target yesterday. We hit our 2% target, yet the Bank of England are failing to act. They're not willing to cut rates. So I'm going to talk about why that is. I've got all the data here. I'm going to talk about what the vote was and what the expectations are. What are the markets saying? Are we going to get a cut in August because there's no meeting in July? Or are we more likely to get an interest rate cut in September? I'm going to talk about that and more in this video. Now, before we jump into this, as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel over there and hit the bell notification. We're a smidge away from 25,000. If you subscribe, England will definitely win today. And while you're here, smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button. That will also help the Free Lions to win the match today. So go and do that right now. And it really helps with the YouTube algorithm, let's be honest. So the Bank of England meeting, what is going on? I feel this is really frustrating personally. I don't always give my opinions on stuff here. Sometimes I just deliver what's going on in the markets. But this for me is frustrating because the Bank of England acted late when it came to inflation. They didn't put rates up fast enough, which meant inflation went up more than it probably should have, and it took longer to come down. Now, we've had 2% for a year now. That's the average that we've got for a year, right? It's not like it's just 1 month that we've had 2% and we're worrying and saying, you know what, maybe the inflation is coming back. Yeah, maybe it is. But a lot of this inflation that we're looking at, which is some of the reason why they've decided not to cut this month, is stuff that isn't in your control. It isn't in my control. It's stuff that the government has done. So let's talk about that. The big concern that the Bank of England has got is service inflation. So what is service inflation? And currently that stands at 5.7%, but it is going down, right? Which is good. It was over 6% the month before. So what's service inflation? That means your hairdresser, your restaurants, anything like that, accountants, solicitors, builders, those sorts of industries where they're providing a service rather than a physical good, like a post-it note which you buy, right? So a service industry is really what the UK economy is built on, and their prices are up 5.5%. But here's why. A lot of that came down to higher energy costs. A lot of companies tried to absorb those costs while they figured out how long that might last. But energy costs have been high for a while now. They haven't come back at all to where they were. And so the fish and chip shop opposite my office, his energy used to be £2,000 a month, and then it went up to £8,000 a month. And obviously that nearly wiped him out. He pretty much was very close to going bankrupt because of that. It was a really, really difficult time. So the energy cost is something that the service industry can't impact. The government didn't have any policies at all that really capped the energy like other countries did. So in Spain, they taxed the profits and made it more difficult for them. Other places did the same. We didn't do anything. We just let them make record profits, which was frustrating. So that's one reason services is up. Next is something that happened the other day, which was they raised the minimum wage. Now, I think that's important, and I think they should do that because people, especially people on the minimum wage, are the people that have been hit really hard with the cost of living crisis because they don't have the disposable income that maybe other people have. But putting that up meant wages went up on average 9%, which meant the service industry again had to increase prices. And so you're kind of blaming something over here, an industry that can't control the energy prices themselves. They can't control the minimum wage. In fact, they're obligated, in fact, to put those prices up. So I think this should have some sort of consideration there and say, well, actually, temporarily, maybe we take some of this data out of the equation because this isn't going to stay higher for longer. And what you're saying is you want them to not increase their prices to cover the energy costs or the increase in wages. And they're pretty much struggling and they'll go bust. And that will cause a huge recession. So something should be done around that. So that's the main point. Service is something that the service industry is something that they're going to watch. They've been saying it for months, but I think it's a load of rubbish. I think personally, how can you blame a sector that you forced to put the energy prices up and you forced them to put wages up? Like, that's ridiculous. So the rate was kept at 5.25 anyway. And that's the 7th month that has happened now, which is considerable, right? So it's quite a long time now. It's we had 14 rate rises starting in 2021. We're now at 7 months of holding, and it doesn't. And the main reason, well, this service stuff was one of the main reasons why we didn't drop rates, because they want to just make sure that's going to keep going down. The other reason is the election. And so Rishi Sunak called in an election. They don't want to be seen to be being political. But again, in my opinion, not to say who I'm voting for or to be political, but I think we can all agree, whether you support them or not, Labour is going to win this election regardless of whether interest rates go down. They're so far ahead, they're just uncatchable, right? Something drastic would need to happen in order for Labour to not win this election. Every poll says they're going to get the biggest majority in history, which is crazy. So I don't think that it would have influenced the election or be seen to do that, but that's their policy when we're in the lead up to an election. They don't want to move rates. They don't want to put lots of statements out, which they didn't give us much information today. Now, what else is going on? Well, let's see how the markets reacted. And so that's what is important. So we want to look at the markets. When do they expect a rate cut? Well, in August, the market is pricing in the probability, the chance of a rate cut is dropped to 41%. 41%, not great. So it's unlikely that you're going to get a cut in August, because again, they just want to see this service, election will be done by then. They want to see the service inflation drop multiple times and be certain it's moving in the right direction. But that service inflation could stick around for a year because it's just spiked. You've just put the wages up. So those prices are going to be at the beginning. So it's going to take months and months and months and months before that starts to fall off. So that will be interesting to see. And if it does fall off, if the service inflation does drop significantly with the fact that they've had to put up the wages, it means that they're really probably suffering at that point. Their energy is going to be going up at the end of this year. So that's another reason, if it drops the service inflation while energy costs go up, while they've got higher wages, then we know that they're cutting prices and they're going to be making even less profit, and probably more of them are going to go bankrupt. So that's something to consider. So when is the interest rate priced in for? Well, September is when the markets now think. Remember, they've got this wrong multiple times though, because we did say at one point we would cut rates from March 2024 and we'd have 3 rate cuts this year. Probably can't get there now. Probably unlikely that will happen. But September, the markets are saying 71% are saying that the market will drop, or the interest rate will drop in September. So what are mortgage lenders doing? That's important to understand as well. Well, actually, because we've hit the 2% inflation, some big lenders dropped rates yesterday, which was a good sign. So I'm going to do some videos on that this week. And that will be really, really important to see. And more of those lenders doing that. So if they think that the rates are going to be dropping in September, they might stop, more of them might start dropping a little early in order to get some of that business, because it takes a while for the deals to go through anyway. So let me know what you think. Do you think England's going to win? Hope so. Let me know in the comments below. You might even see this video after that result anyway. Do smash like, do subscribe, do check out all the other content on my channel, including this video right here.